Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I'm having a nice restful Sunday here on the mountain, but I am being productive today because I'm going to the beach tomorrow and I want to get several videos shot today, so I have a little bit of a head start on that, so I don't have to be rushing around and worrying about uploading videos while I'm down at the beach. But like I say, it's a nice quiet Sunday. I'm just coming in. I took some sun on the front just a little bit ago, and when I do this video, I'll go back out and get a little bit more. But anyway, wanted to talk about raw vegan disease prevention today. And this will be, I'm gonna throw some stuff in here. This might be some resources and what have you that you keep on hand and you share with other people. And like I say, since we're getting into some prevention and talking about that kind of stuff, these are just my opinions. These are just my opinions. You need to always look at your health is your most important treasure out there. So you need to be responsible for your health. Anything you ever do for your health, don't ever go back and blame anybody else. That's some weak ass shit. You need to be responsible. And if you're getting information from anybody, evaluate that information, no matter who it is. So anyhow, guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I do videos like this every day. So if you would, go ahead and take a minute to hit that subscribe button. And when you do, click on the bell and check send notifications so you will say subscribe to the channel. Now, as I say, these are my opinions on the subject. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, and then we'll get into the gist of the conversation, is people tend to ask me sometimes, or they insinuate, or I kind of know what they're getting at. And I think they're asking me, am I bulletproof on this lifestyle? Or do I think I'm bulletproof to disease on this lifestyle? I don't know about that. I'm not, if you've watched my channel at all, I'm not a very extreme. I don't like to exaggerate. It kind of just is what it is. Are we bulletproof? I don't know. I tend to think no, not like, there's no such thing as bulletproof. But I've come to the conclusion, for me, by everything I've learned in the last 5 years, everything I've read, how I feel, and just common sense between the way my body works from other aspects of eating on this lifestyle, I tend to think it is the best shot at prevention for these various diseases. So I want to read just a few numbers for you, just kind of put this whole thing in perspective. And this is from the United States. I did some Googling just to get some statistics, some information. And most of this came up, these numbers were from the United States, which is a country of affluence, which a lot of these diseases, these major diseases, are diseases of affluence. I mean, you've seen where poor people didn't have them until people came into the country and started eating these rich things. So anyway, these numbers are for the states. In the states, heart disease kills 610,000 people a year, leading cause of death. Cancer kills, I don't know how they got pretty precise here, cancer kills 565,000 people per year. In the United States alone, there are 9 million people with diabetes. It didn't break that down and tell me what was type 2, type 1, what that breakdown was, but as you're going to see, or as you've seen in other places, even type 1 diabetics can get benefits from a plant-based lifestyle. So those are some pretty daunting numbers right there. Yes, this is called raw vegan disease prevention, but to the huge extent, it's plant-based disease prevention. Because there's a lot of factors in there that come into it as far as the disease prevention goes, that as far as I'm concerned outweigh the rawness or the how much cooked, how much raw you're eating. And especially when it comes to the heart disease, because I think there's a lot of people out there that probably have better heart health that eat cooked food than some of your high-fat raw vegans. But resources, okay, where do I think of first? When I think of heart disease, and like I say, I'm kind of giving you stuff from my perspective, like how I share stuff, how I explain stuff to people. Like I say, I send people to the source. I'm not in school no more. I ain't gonna write no damn paper. I'm not gonna, do a book report. It's like, we're adults now, go to the source. So I send people there. Heart disease, Reversing and Preventing Heart Disease by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. That's the book. If you ever have anybody that has a problem with heart disease, That's what I would just buy and give to them. Well, depending on how important they are to you. To some people, you just recommend it. If it's somebody really close in your life, give them that book. The Esselsteins don't play around. His son Rip, he gives a lot of talks on this lifestyle. And one thing they're big about, they don't, is the fat. They don't use oils in their diet. They're not. They use a moderate amount of fat. And just read his book, or just go look up Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, and you can read. I forget where it was he did his study. It was some university or famous hospital. I don't want to say. I'm just shooting in the dark. I wanted to say Johns Hopkins, but I don't think that's it. But anyhow, he has. There's like miraculous stuff of people reversing heart disease. He did some sort of a long-term study, or a fairly long-term study for cancer. When people are talking about cancer, the one that just opened my eyes, it was just like boom from the beginning, was the China study. And it was T. Colin Campbell, the experiments he was doing with turning on and turning off these tumors in mice, and showing how it's the plant-based protein, or the plant-based fats are like actually causing all this problem. Because what he was doing was just kind of ballparking. Like I said, I can't remember details, but you can go read this stuff. But he was like turning these tumors on and off by the amount of animal protein that was in the diet. Like if he went above 20%, these tumors would grow, get more active. He would drop it down below 5%, and they would come back down. So yeah, there's somebody you recommend for that. Diabetes, Dr. Neil Bernard. Dr. Gabriel Cousins. Yes, they're not fruitarians. They do it different methods like us. Now, I don't know what to tell you. That's one place where I don't even touch in there, because I don't know enough about diabetes. When people ask me, when I kind of feel like they're coming from a fruitarian standpoint, I don't know all the ins and outs on that. I don't know how you do it, like eating a lot of fruit. I'm sure it can be done. Just not part of my knowledge base, I guess you would say. And then you have the lesser stuff. Well, not lesser if anybody suffered from it, but like the gut disorders and the autoimmune disorders. And there's plenty of research out there that basically shows the benefits of this plant-based diet. Another great resource, and a great book to read, and a great book to show everybody, to show people that doubt this stuff. And it's very pragmatic. It's very non-woo. It's not like crazy looking people like me just spouting stuff on YouTube. It's a doctor, MD, with the white coat on, even though that's not necessary for me and you maybe. That's necessary for a lot of people. Dr. Greger, How Not to Die. Dr. Greger's got some phenomenal stuff on keeping you alive. I've not read that book, How Not to Die, but I've watched there. If you go to YouTube and you just search around a little bit, search Dr. McGregor, search How Not to Die, just do some various searches. But this is before his book came out. He's got like an hour talk or something in there that pretty much talks about this, just pretty much talks about how the plant-based lifestyle reduces the risk on so many of major diseases and health conditions out there. Brenda Davis. Brenda Davis isn't a doctor. She speaks from a very scientific and intellectual standpoint. Like I say, I talk about this all the time. If you want to make an impact on people, you've got to know who to send to who. There's a number of people out there. If you've got your conservative, clean-cut, middle America, middle-class parents out there, you don't send them to this. They're going to look at this, and they're not going to hear anything I say. They're going to see some old crazy hippie dude living down, spouting some woo-woo. He's a tree hugger, this and that, living in Costa Rica. You send those people to Dr. Esselstyn. You send those people to Dr. Greger. If you really want to be effective, you think about things like that. You think about who resonates with who. And not everybody is going to resonate with the same type of source. So, that's another reason I like to watch a lot of different people. I like to venture out. I like to, I don't know. I just like to have lots of options out there for sending people to this lifestyle, because I'm sizing people up all the time. When people ask me questions, I'm sizing them up like, okay, what's their mentality? Who would get through to them? Who do I think would get through to them? And I don't know, that's just the mentality I've always taken. I'm a little self-deprecating. I mean, it's like, come on, I'm not like, every time I say something like that, like, look at me, people like tend to jump in and be like, oh, it's so, no, you're smart. No. I mean, I know how people look at society. It's not, I don't have, my feelings don't get hurt. So don't ever worry about stuff like that, or don't worry about you have to tell me, oh, I look young. I don't look young. Come on, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I look like Methuselah. Doesn't matter to me. I got real thick skin, and I got more important things to think about. But yeah, as far as disease prevention goes, like, I was sold very early on. It just all made sense to me. It all made sense to me. You can't think about what if, but I do like to think about, okay, what if this stuff had been presented to me, the health aspect of it, a few years before? I think I was not, I'm stubborn in a lot of ways, but I'm not like stubborn, just like devil's advocate stubborn on everything. I've had an open mind. I've always been curious. I've always been exploratory. I like to think that if, depending on the source too, like just somebody, just random stuff that comes out, but I like to think if somebody that I even halfway respected had shared some of this information with me, even 6, 7, 8 years ago, that maybe I would have seen the light of it then, because it didn't take me any amount of time. It wasn't like from the moment I started like watching videos, reading about the raw vegan lifestyle, which is basically, like I say, the nuts and bolts of it is the plant-based lifestyle. It just made sense to me. It made sense to me. When I read the China study for the first time, I was like, wow. And I know, like I say, I'm not a scientist. I don't know the scientific method. Sometimes when I'm Googling and I'm looking around and I'm going through different sources, you get these uber egghead, devil advocate, I know more than everybody. They talk in such words that nobody really understands, and I've seen people try to debate the China study, like, well, it wasn't a proper study. It wasn't done within these parameters, blah, 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 blah. It was enough to convince me. That's all I'm going to tell you. And that's all I try to share on this channel. I'm not going to beat you over the head with anything. If you're connected with me on social media, how often do you see me debating and arguing with people? I just put stuff out there. Do with it what you want. I don't have any stake in what you put in your mouth. You figured that out? Like, I know some people out there, and your YouTubers and people that are on social media, they take it kind of personally. They get all weepy if you're not eating certain things. And maybe they're better human beings than me. I'm very pragmatic. I'm just trying to get a message out to as many people as possible. I want to help as many people as possible, but it's like triage. It's like you're on the battlefield, and I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my time on people that don't want to be helped. It's like I was telling somebody not too long ago. There's too many people out there that are reaching out, that want to be helped, that are open to being helped, that listen to what you say. So yeah, I got zero time to go like beat people over the head with this message. If they don't want it, they don't want it. When they're laying in the hospital getting something cut out, getting something pumped into them, that's when they all tend to, they get humble then. They got all their bacon jokes, and they got all their, I see people on social media all the time, almost just sharing the most ungodly. Have you noticed that trend over the last few years? Like people just sharing like these just absolute food abominations. I'm not talking about what we call abominations. I'm talking about, like, I saw a hamburger, just like I don't know how big of a hamburger with a macaroni. Somehow they had made a bun out of macaroni and cheese. And I'm like thinking, this is just like heart attack in one sitting right here. But yeah, everything is out there at our fingertips. Take these resources, figure it out for yourself. This lifestyle's not that hard to crack. Listen, I see people over and over and over that are staying kind of at the same level. You start seeing the same faces circulating in groups and forums, making comments on other people's videos, making comments on yours. And you just see people that they're just not taking this knowledge and using it. And some of them I see not taking, it's not so much that as it's just they're stubborn. They refuse to use certain bits of this information. So anyhow, it's a real simple lifestyle. Let me just ballpark it for you here to finish it off. I do raw vegan. I feel better on raw vegan. I have a higher energy level on raw vegan. I have better digestion on raw vegan. As far as the major disease prevention though comes from, that's the basics. That's plant-based in my opinion. And that's like, you know, like I say, that's why, like, especially with the heart disease, watching that fat. But anyhow, enough rambling here on disease. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And I will probably the next time, well, no, I got a couple more videos today. I get lost in time because most of the time I do my videos in real time, and then if I'm getting ahead of time, I'm talking like I'm gonna do it tomorrow, but who knows when. Anyhow, see you guys. Peace.